Good morning, folks. How are we doing? It is the 16th day. I had to check. 16th day of August 2025. It's about 20 minutes after 9 o'clock on a nice, beautiful, clear skies Saturday morning. Gonna do a brief video. Sorry. Gonna do a brief video this morning talking about Donald Trump and his summit he held yesterday in Alaska at a military base, Air Force base, with one Vladimir Putin. Ooh. I'm on the left, the alt left, so whenever I say Vladimir Putin, ooh, I have to do that. That's like when I say global warming, boom, I have to scare the people. Ben from Midas Touch, The Hill, all of these outlets are out there on the alt left and the left, and they're parroting what the mainstream media left, fake left, is saying, and that is, oh, it was a failure. Oh my God, Trump was humiliated. Oh, Trump ran off. Ben actually tried to tell his audience. Of course, everything is, oh my God, huge news. Everything's clickbait with this piece of shit. In fact, NPR he's made such headway. NPR is now promoting him. This guy, who's the big open hand gesture, the power gesture, like Cyrax's acting hands. There he is again doing it. I think this is older. He's got a different setup now. But this is Ben, anti-Trump podcast, Midas Touch, and he is horrifically partisan, to the point where it's detrimental, extremely detrimental. Listen, there's something to be said for activist journalists or journalist activists, depending on what their priorities are. He would be considered a partisan hack journalist activist, because that's what he is. His love of all things Ukraine is just fucking disgusting, especially when you consider what Ukraine is and the history since our fucking color revolution in 2014, since the bombing of the people of Donbass to draw Russia into a conflict. Ukraine is nothing that we as the leftists or the left in the United States should stand with. These are fucking Nazis. These are Nazis. These are pure neoliberal, free marketeer, fascist Nazis in Ukraine. And Ben from the Midas Touch stands with them and Zelensky like his life depends on it, like his paycheck depends on it. And the reason he does this is because he hates Trump so much. He doesn't want to see Trump get any kind of credit for anything he's doing. And that just, to me, if he does anything good, I'm doing the Ben hands now, the power gesture hands. If I'm acting hands, if I'm Cyrax acting hands, power acting hands, power gesture. Sorry. To me, if he does any other good in any of his reporting, he diminishes it. He undermines it when he does shit like reporting on this and saying, "Oh my God, Trump ran away from the press conference. Trump was obviously flustered," and Trump wasn't flustered. He had a press conference, a joint press conference. He's at one podium, Putin's at the other podium. He says what he says. The mainstream media, they tried as much as they could to promote this as some kind of treason because Donald Trump was having a discussion with the leader of an adversarial country. That's called diplomacy. I don't I don't I get how people can be propagandized into believing almost anything. Just take a look at fucking Israel today, especially the youth. They've been hammered with propaganda in their education system for the last 20 years for just this fucking moment. So they can be faced with committing the most brutal and awful genocide imaginable in recent history, starving, shooting, burning children, so that some fucking Zionists can steal their fucking land, and they've been propagandized for the last 20 years through their education system to the point where they believe it. On the U.S. side, we haven't been propagandized to that degree, so a lot of people aren't buying into that, but what they are buying into, for some reason, is supporting neo-Nazis and Stepan Bandera fucking supporters in Ukraine who have dismissed parliament, refused to hold elections, forcing conscription and rounding people up of all sorts of ages. Somebody my age, 59 years old, would be snatched off the ground and put in a van and sent to the fucking front lines. And all of this, not to defend the sovereign territory of Ukraine, all of this because at one time Gordon Brown came in 2 months into the conflict in 2022, early 2022, when there was a deal on the table and Zelensky was going to sign and this was all going to be over, and Gordon Brown comes in with a message from the Obama administration, no, from the Biden administration, telling them don't sign that deal. And as a result, some estimates between 450,000 and 500,000 dead Ukrainians. And we're supposed to cheer that on the alt-left. We're supposed to cheer on the neoliberal revolution on the alt-left. We're supposed to cheer on DIIA with the Everything app totally controlled by big business and their fucking government, to the point where if you say anything wrong or do anything wrong, they'll just turn your chip off. And you can have and do nothing. This is what we're supposed to fucking cheer on. That and the fact that the neo-Nazis are rampant throughout the Ukrainian military and Ukrainian political system. And this is what we're supposed to cheer on. People who bombed the people of Donbass from 2014 until 2022, late 2021, and then stepped it up in December of 2021 under Joe Biden's first year in office to like 3, 4, 5 times the normal fucking bombings in order to bait Russia into the conflict. That was the point the whole time. And then, 2 months after that, when they had a deal arranged, just give the people of Donbass what they wanted. They wanted to be separate, let them be separate. And we'll stop this whole thing and it'll be all over with. Zelensky was ready to sign until, I think it was Gordon Brown, it was one of those two former prime ministers of fucking England, came in with the message from the Biden administration. Don't you do that. We got all this money for you. And you can skim off the top. And that's why we're here. And people support that little, miserable, failed comedian piece of shit, Zelensky, who was made by a fucking oligarch, Kolomoisky. He was handpicked from nobody, nowhere Bill, doing some fucking variety show, standing in front of a fucking piano like this, pretending to play fucking the piano with his penis. That was his claim to fame. That's what he was. That was his success in life. until Kolomoisky snatched him up, made him the star of a TV show called Man of the People, where a man of the people ended up becoming president of Ukraine, and then he ran him to be president of Ukraine. And by the way, he ran him on a fucking campaign that was founded on the idea of reconciliation with Russia. Because that's what the vast majority of Ukrainians wanted. And since then, all he has done is sell out his country and his countrymen to foreign interests, to our national interests. I have a ton of stuff. I've been covering Ukraine for a while. There's a bunch of links that I put up. I'll show you the links in a few seconds. I'll show you the images of the fucking Nazis. But what gets me is that because it is Trump, because Hillary Clinton once said Putin tried to fucking influence our election, which was total bullshit, never fucking happened. Because of that, and because of Trump derangement syndrome, and because it sells, hatred of all things Trump sells, they then are able to mask or to commingle the hatred of fucking Trump with the hatred of fucking Putin. To the point where they have the fucking left doing the bidding of the fucking military-industrial complex and the neocons who want to fucking neoliberalize fully and destroy fully fucking not only Ukraine but also Russia. They have the alt-left doing the bidding of the war machine. Saying, what are you doing, Trump, talking to the fucking adversary, having a fucking discussion about peace? What kind of traitor are you? As opposed to what? Ben from Midas Touch. Just give them more fucking money and more fucking munitions so they can kill all fucking Ukrainians? Or maybe you'll be satisfied when they open it up for the floodgates and start forcing Americans into that conflict. Would that be sufficient for you, Ben? To defend the sanctity of the neo-Nazi regime in fucking Ukraine? And he's promoted. He's promoted by all the alt fucking media on the left, the fucking the Glenn fucking Greenwald sect, the fucking what's his fucking name? The Max Blumenthal fucking network. I can't think of his fucking name. He's promoted on all of these things, as well as NPR and fucking mainstream media, because that's what he's doing. He's bringing the fucking left back into the fold to support fucking endless wars of aggression, because that's what it is. The people of Donbass had a right to say they were going to separate from Ukraine because that's not what they voted for. They didn't vote for a coup in 2014, and they damn sure didn't want to become part of a neo-Nazi fucking Ukraine run by and of and for foreign assets. So they said, we're going to separate. And when they said we're going to separate, Ukrainians started bombing them. Kiev started bombing them. The Nazis started bombing them. And you want to stand with the fucking Nazis. This is, to me, remarkable. By all accounts, if you listen to the mainstream media and the alt-left and the mainstream media left, by all accounts, Donald just shit his pants in the meeting. Started playing with his feces, fell asleep, farting, and laughing at his farts, giggling at his farts in the corner. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. He didn't run away from the fucking presser. He didn't sit there disheveled and looking sad and about to almost. He said he looked like he was almost about to cry. This is all bullshit. He says all this stuff, and you watch the fucking video, and you're like, what were you watching? What video did you watch? Listen to me very carefully. I want you to understand something. When the mainstream media and Ben and The Hill and all these other fucking fake left outlets, by the way. If you support war, an endless war in Ukraine, whether peace is brought by fucking Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, or Donald fucking Trump, it's still fucking peace, and that's what the left is supposed to stand for. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Whether it's our guy or not, that's what we're supposed to stand for. The story, as it's being presented by them, is it's a total failure and there's no deal. There's no deal. Ukraine wasn't there, so there couldn't be a deal. Do you get it? Do you understand the concept? Donald Trump and the United States might really think they run the world, but they can't sign a peace accord for Ukraine on behalf of Ukraine without someone from fucking Ukraine there to fucking sign it, you goddamn morons. So, of course, there's no goddamn deal. Idiots. Donald Trump and Putin said it was very favorable, the discussion. Donald Trump came away from it and immediately, according to his own fucking Truth Social account, contacted European leaders and, more importantly, Zelensky himself, and laid out the foundations for what he thinks is going to end up being a lasting peace deal, not a ceasefire. Zelensky and the fucking military-industrial complex, and apparently the folks over at the Hill, fake left, and Ben from Midas Touch, fake left, they want Zelensky's ceasefire deal. So too does the military-industrial complex. Why? Because a ceasefire deal, in case you didn't know, only means give us some time to rearm before you keep fucking bombing us, okay? Okay, we're going to rearm. We got a ceasefire. Okay, we're all... Okay, boom, it's back on. That's what a ceasefire deal is. And Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin both themselves said that's not what they're interested in. We're not going to stop and take a pause and take a time out so European Union can find some way to scrape together some more money and send some more weapons to Ukraine. Ukraine's on the ropes. If a boxer's on the ropes, he's like, he can't go. Time out. I need some water, and I gotta get my head together. That's not how it works. But that's what Zelensky wants, because Zelensky will fight to the last fucking Ukrainian, male or female, old or young, crippled or not crippled. He will fight to the last fucking Ukrainian as long as he keeps getting these people from outside the country putting money in his fucking pockets. And then he will go. His short little fucking ass wearing his goddamn sweatshirt costume. He'll go. And he'll leave it for whoever the next fucking puppet is we pick. Of course, Donald Trump can't sign the peace deal for Ukraine. Donald Trump isn't the president of Ukraine. But they can lay the foundations for one. They can lay the foundations for the discussion. And then he can go afterwards and say, this is what the deal is. You're going to have to give up Donbass. Crimea was never yours to start with. They left, according to as of a referendum, in 2014. And the referendum wasn't even close. It was 98% of the people in fucking Crimea wanted the fuck out of Ukraine because of what we did in 2014 and because of the fucking neo-Nazis. Okay? So Crimea's got nothing to do with it. Crimea's Russia. It's not a bargaining chip. The other two oblasts, is that what you call it? Whatever it is, you have Donetsk, you have Lugansk. That would be Donbass. or a large percentage of them would be Donbass. There were two others that also voted in the referendum to join fucking Russia, and they might be up for debate. That might be what Donald Trump said, a land swap situation, because right now, those other two are pretty much Russia. So what they might do is say, okay, you can have one of them. We're going to keep the three, Donetsk, Lugansk, and the one that's right there in front of where Crimea makes landfall with Ukraine. And then the other goes back to you. And maybe they give them some consolation with some area so they can do their fucking fracking, which is really what they want. British Petroleum put $10 billion into an area, and then when the shit broke out in 2014 and Donbass broke off and part of Donetsk and Lugansk, the area they were going to frack was underneath, partly underneath those. And so now it's a conflict zone, and British Petroleum can't fucking profit from the $10 billion from the $10 billion investment. So maybe that's part of the deal. Who knows? But the truth is, a deal may come of this, and a permanent peace might be fucking arranged. They're going to have to give up Donbass. You cannot bomb the shit out of a bunch. If Texas wanted to fucking leave the United States, they said, fuck you, we're out of here. You're too many fucking liberals. We need fucking pure fascism to make us happy. Fine, take your shit and go. But if for some reason the Trump administration said, no, we need the oil, and started bombing the shit out of Texas and killing a bunch of people in Texas, whether we like it or not, they have a right, according to international law and the UN convention that we are a signatory of, to do that. Declare, we are Texas, we are now a sovereign state, or we are now part of Mexico, or whatever the case may be. They have a right to fucking do that. So too did the people of Donbass. Everyone talks about, like Jeffrey Sachs, oh, it's all about NATO. Bullshit. It's not about fucking NATO. It's not about NATO. They were never going to get NATO to sign on to it anyway. Turkey would never have approved it. Ergo, it was never going to happen in the first goddamn place. You understand? The conflict was Donbass. And Donbass was Donbass because we did what we did to Yanukovych in 2014. And we did what we did to him in 2014 because they had rejected an IMF loan. They had rejected going further into debt and being forced to impose austerity measures and crippling fucking debt on the people of Ukraine. Their government did. Their leader did. And he was in the process of talking to Russia to get an emergency $8 billion loan from them instead with no fucking strings attached. By the way. Fuck you. You're out. Because in the United States, it's all about the banks. For the banks, of the banks, by the banks. So Donbass wouldn't even be Donbass if we hadn't started it. So we started what's happening right now today in Ukraine. And folks on the fake alt-left, like Ben from Midas Touch, like The Hill, like all the rest, standing with the fucking neoliberal, globalist, dystopian, pure free market, collapsing, neo-Nazi fucking regime that undemocratic, by the way. Zelensky was supposed to have an election a while ago. Fuck that. He's Zelensky. He's a comedian who wears a fucking costume, a sweatshirt costume, because he's a man of the people. Are you so fucking stupid? Is that what happened to the left? You would think that the 8 years of Obama and 4 years of Biden would have taught the fucking alt-left at least something. Apparently not. Apparently not. While we're here, I did publish something. I'm going to share with you those. But I did publish this morning. And I'm going to post it on my Substack as well. And the reason I found these while I was looking for some more Nazi pictures from Ukraine. It's been a while, so I had to go back in my fucking archives. And I ran across these, and I wanted to publish these for you. Let me pull them up real quick on here for you. Because I want people to remember, when you see images of the Pentagon when it was hit, the outer ring when it was hit, they show you this picture with this big gaping hole in the side of the Pentagon. Oh my God, the plane did all that. Well, kind of. Some suggest maybe not, but well, kind of. This was the hole right after Flight 77, a Boeing 757-200 slammed into the side of the Pentagon. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the hole. That was the entirety of it. That's not a trick. That's not some other part of the Pentagon. That's not some other attack on the Pentagon. That is the hole made by a 757-200 Boeing. A massive plane. What's more, what don't you see? What you don't see are two holes where the massive Rolls-Royce fucking engines went through. 9.5 tons each. Your car might weigh a ton. Traveling at 400 miles an hour. Where are those holes? There are none. There's only this one, which is not big enough for the fuselage of a fucking 757-200. What else don't you see? A hole where the vertical stabilizer or the horizontal stabilizers, the tail section. Well, if there's no hole where the vertical stabilizer went and the horizontal stabilizers went on the two sides and the top, if there's no hole in the wall, where are they? They're aluminum. Aluminum doesn't shatter into dust. Aluminum crumples. I don't care how fast it's moving. It doesn't liquefy. Where is it? Where is it? Do you see it? Do you see it in this picture? No? Well, let's see. Do you see it in this picture? That's the hole. Do you see where the vertical stabilizer is or the horizontal stabilizers are? That's the hole, which isn't really a hole. There's a column right here. Where'd it go? Where on the ground is it? I posted these because when you see pictures of the Pentagon, it's post the collapse of this section. And so then, of course, it makes sense. Oh, well, the whole thing disappeared in that big-ass fucking section that's missing, Scott. Except for the fact that when you see pictures from the inside before they started the cleanup, there's no chairs, there's no seats, there's no fucking luggage. None. Zip. So what's your point, Scott? What could have caused that damage without being a plane. In the early stages, I mean, the day it happened, eyewitnesses who were stuck in traffic, those two fucking highways that come together to go across the bridge right there next to the fucking Pentagon. Tons of people reported seeing what looked like a small business class plane hit the Pentagon. Some said it was a small business class plane, but it looked like it was an American Airlines plane. It looked like an American Airlines plane, but it just seemed smaller. This is a global hawk. And I remember when I was doing my research into it, I found that at the time of 9/11, we had a fleet of only 6 of them. One was reported missing. Supposedly it had gone down in one of the Atlantic on a training mission flight. This is a global hawk. It's a very interesting and unique drone back in the day. And of course, there's all kinds of technology. Now we got a whole fucking fleets of these things. They make them every 15 minutes apparently now. But some very interesting aspects about this plane, this drone. One is it has one big fucking turbine engine. Not as big as a Rolls-Royce fucking engine on the 2 Rolls-Royce engines on the 757-200. But still big. There was one actuator fan from a fucking turbine engine. I don't know if it's called an actuator fan, but that's what I'm going to call it, just for the sake of the fan blades you see on the front of the goddamn engine, the turbine engine. There was one of those found in the remnants of what was in the Pentagon. One. Not 2. 1. The 757-200 has 2 much larger ones. There was one. There's one hole in the Pentagon, right where the fuselage made contact. There's some crumpled up metal outside the Pentagon. Small. It's letters from the logo American Airlines. On a 757-200, there's only one place on the outside of it where the logo was painted. On the outside of the 757-200, the logo is 3 times the size of that one. The small piece of fuselage you see pictured in the grass outside of the Pentagon is about that size. If you stand this person next to that, his 6-foot frame would go from here to about here. And that's the size of the piece outside. Why does this survive and not the tail, not the wings? Because the fuselage in a Global Hawk is made of aluminum. It crumpled. The wings and the tail section are graphite composite. When they hit concrete and stone, steel reinforced fucking wall of the Pentagon, they shatter. So you wouldn't have wings or tail section or the vertical stabilizer or the horizontal stabilizers. What you would have if this hit the Pentagon traveling at 500 miles an hour is something that looks surprisingly and suspiciously like that. I'll post a link to this down below. but that's this here. Okay? These images, the reason I post this, the reason I talk about this in the middle of a video about something else is because these are impossible to find now. These are impossible to find now. Very difficult to find. Trump backs Putin's route for talks, dashing Ukraine's hope for a swift ceasefire. This is from the New York Times. Mr. Trump, again, for those Trump haters out there, and I'm definitely not in his fucking fan club, as you can tell from the rest of my goddamn work. Mr. Trump wrote on Truth Social earlier on Saturday he spoke by phone with Mr. Zelensky and European leaders after his meeting with Mr. Putin. He said it was determined by all that including Zelensky and the European leaders and Putin, the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is go directly to a peace agreement, which would end the war, not a mere ceasefire agreement, which oftentimes do not hold up, end quote. I talked the other day, I wrote or I talked, I can't remember, the other day, one of the things I did. I told you that, you know, remember when the Prime Minister of fucking Israel was about to sign a fucking, make a peace deal with Palestine and the United States for a two-state solution. They had some fucking psychopath run up and kill him. And his security allowed him to get close enough to kill him. I mentioned that John F. Kennedy, he gave, I think it was American University, speech called the Peace Speech, where he called for an end to the Cold War and a building of a peaceful relationship with the people of the Soviet Union. They killed him 3 months later. This is what happens, I think. And so my speculation is that both Netanyahu and Trump understand this history and understand the kinds of people who are creeping around, slithering around their orbits. And that it's just as easy, it was just as easy to kill fucking the Israeli Prime Minister back then as it would be right now. For these people. Because they would have their zealots and his security allow them to walk in and blow his brains out. And the same holds true with Donald Trump. I mean, shit, they already let somebody take pot shots at him at a fucking rally back a year ago. So, I said that, you know, you got to give them a little credit and have a little understanding with them. If in the world that they live, that they walked into themselves, even if they wanted to back out, they'd be hard-pressed to do so. Because the war machine in this country and in Israel won't allow for it. They can always say, oh, it was some lone nut gunman. And, of course, we all believe the lone nut gunman stories because it's always a lone nut gunman. Somehow some guy just gets a fucking pistol and a hair up his ass and he can kill a fucking president. He can kill a prime minister. It doesn't work that way. Otherwise, why spend the money on fucking security? But we believe it. Because if we don't believe it, we're called tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. Well, Zelensky's in the same place. Zelensky's in the same place. We'll see how it goes. Here's some more information on that. I just wanted to just touch on that. We'll see what comes of it. Is it possible that Donald Trump really does want to, he was crying the other day that he wasn't, nominated for a peace prize. He wants a peace prize because Obama got a peace prize, and he needs a peace prize because he's fucking stupid. That's how he measures his worth. How much do I have and how much do you have? You have a peace prize. Well, I'm going to get a peace prize. He wants this one. He can't bring peace to the Middle East. He's not going to be allowed to, but he wants this one in the worst of ways. In the worst of ways. He wants to be able to say, peace in Ukraine with Russia. Promises made, promises kept. He wants that. Because with that, his fucking base will look past Epstein, will look past genocide, will look past the pricing, will look past the tariff taxes they're having to pay. He needs this one. He needs a fucking win. He needs a fucking win like you need an icy when you're living in hell. He needs a fucking win bad, and he wants this one. And you know what? Whether you're on the alt-left or the alt-right, on the left or the right, if you're a green, if you're an independent, who fucking cares what you are? If the end result is they stop killing people and they sign the peace agreement and Donbass is either an entity unto itself, like South Ossetia, or if it becomes part of Russia and Nazis aren't fucking kidnapping people because they speak Russian and torturing them and killing them on a regular fucking basis like they did from 2014 to 2022. If that fucking happens, then I don't care what side you're on, Ben from Midas Touch. Peace is worth it. Even if Orange Man Bad gets the fucking credit for it. I'll put the fucking peace prize around his neck myself if they stop killing people in Ukraine and Russia. How's that? And I will do it proudly. Then I'll ask him what the fuck is he doing with fucking Epstein. You get me? But no, it's just all fucking clickbait and fucking partisan hackery for him. As you can see, I mean, there's a bunch of shit. The fascism continues talking about the CFPB and Trump and fucking the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025. So again, I'm not a fucking Trump supporter. But I have to live in reality, and I am a goddamn journalist. This is what I do. I gotta call balls and strikes, whether I'm for one team or not. This is the last thing I'm going to say about this, and we're going to move on. Now that I've talked about 9/11 for some fucking reason. These are some updates I posted yesterday, and all of these jackasses standing around. We support Ukraine! Yay, goose Ukraine! Oh my goodness, yay, Ukraine! Yeah. Either they're rent-a-mobs or they're idiots. This is what started the whole thing. This is what started the whole thing. They were bombing women and children just like the fucking Zionists in Israel. They were bombing women and children in Donbass. And I will venture to say, and I'll go ahead and say it, I don't give a shit. I don't care to say I'm racist or not. What's with the alt-left giving a shit about brown Arabs in fucking Gaza and those kids being fucking blown to pieces and not giving a shit about little white blue-eyed fucking blonde kids being blown to pieces in fucking Donbass? What's the difference? Kids are fucking kids. This is what they stand with. I want these people, I hope these people watch this fucking video and go, oh, that's what I'm standing with. What else am I standing with, Scott? That. You dumb fucks. That's not CGI. That's not fucking AI. That's the reality. Look up Stepan Vendetta. Look up Ukrainian Nazis. Here. You don't believe me? When you stand with Ukraine, in this context, that's what you're fucking standing with. That's what you're standing with. Not fake Nazis, not what you call the alt-left calls. Anybody who disagrees, oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you're a Nazi. You like Trump, you're a Nazi. No, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, if you're the alt-left standing with the incarnation in Ukraine right now and what they're doing, you literally stand with fucking Nazis. This is a fact. Like it or not, this is a fact. On this article, I posted a lot of my fucking work. Not anywhere near all of it, but a lot of it. Dating back to 2014. I know from which I fucking speak. This is Victoria Nuland. I don't know why it's not fucking... There should be a link. There's no link. This is Victoria Nuland with the guy who heads a neo-Nazi fucking party in Ukraine. And he was there with this boxer, mayor of fucking Kiev at one time, and this guy who she wanted to make president. There's the same dude. Tannenbach. Ole Tannenbach. There's John McCain standing with him and Victoria Nuland standing with him. It's a one-party system, boys and girls. That's a goddamn Nazi. That's him giving the Sieg Heil. The image was reversed. He's not waving at somebody. He's fucking giving the goddamn Nazi salute at one of his fucking Sabota fucking rallies. There she is meeting with him. And there's John McCain at one of the rallies, one of the neo-Nazi rallies with him. And we stand with Ukraine. No, boys and girls. You stand with neoliberal fucking globalists, the one-party system, represented by Victoria Nuland and John McCain, both. And Barack Obama. I know from which I speak. I've been covering this for a long fucking time. Civilians are still dying in Donbass. Civilians are still dying in Ukraine. And if you're one of these people running around saying, oh my God, you can't talk to Putin. Putin? Didn't you hear what Hillary Clinton said about Putin? If you're one of those people, you know what you stand with. You know what you are. You're known by the company you keep. You're a fucking neo-Nazi. I prefer to stand with the children of fucking Gaza and the children of fucking Ukraine, regardless if they're in fucking Kiev or Donbass. And I hope with all my heart that saner heads prevail and that Donald Trump, I can't believe I'm saying this, gets his fucking win. And they sign a peace deal, and they pack up their little fucking bombs and their little fucking guns, and they stop. Just fucking stop. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. Just fucking stop. I thank you for your time.